How can we make the world better? By making ourselves better. The Dr. Joe Show explores how you can make positive personal change by using his groundbreaking and highly effective I Am approach to understand who we are and why we do what we do. Your small changes can have big effects.
Join us now for the Dr. Joe Show with Mark Stiles of Stiles Law and your host, Dr. Joe Shrand.
And welcome to the Dr. Joe Show.
That was great. You know, I think it's been a little while since we've been here live.
Well,
hasn't it?
You should say that.
Yes, because we are doing big live stuff tonight.
Wow. So our guest that's coming on tonight at 8:15 is a nationally recognized author,
yes,
nutritionist, foodie.
Yep.
And has this new outrageous diet that's just sweeping the nation.
It's incredible, and I don't think it's even that new. It's just that what's incredible about it is it is so effective, and this is going to be my big reveal.
And you could see how effective it is, viewers of Facebook Live.
Look, it's yes.
Dr. Joe is in his bathing suit here, showing off his new abs based on the iDiet.
That's right. I am on the iDiet myself, and when I started, because. Look, I'll be perfectly honest. I am overweight, and I think there's another O word for it, which I don't like to use.
Yeah.
But and I am so tired.
I don't think you're the other O word, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I'm tired of introducing my darling wife Carol. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Wow! Clap, 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 clap,
40
clap.
years,
Ben,
right?
where are you at with the clap, clap?
Years. So anyway,
so it's an I Am approach.
So it's an I Am approach, which is incredible because I love sociobiology, the genetics of behavior, and this iDiet, the I is for instinct, and it covers great things. I cannot wait to talk to Dr. Roberts. I am so honored that she's going to be on around 8:15, a little after that.
I think it's so cool that it kind of follows with what we've been talking about.
It's what we've been talking about. You make one small change, it can have a big effect.
Right.
You control no one, you influence everyone, and Dr. Roberts has influenced me. So when I said, okay, let's do this iDiet, Carol, my wife, said, why don't you just email Dr. Roberts and see if she'll come on the show?
It's a great idea.
So I did. So I wrote, I said, I am an overweight child psychiatrist, and we developed a rapport over the email, and I tell you, it is so cool that she's agreed to come on. And so we're doing this special...
But tell us about why you like the iDiet so much, Doctor.
So as it says right on the front cover of the book, this is a real paradigm shift, and I could not agree more. I have been on, I hate to say it, many diets. Many sort of restrictive things or protein-based or, only eat this and only do it at a certain time. And after a while, I think you go into it with great enthusiasm. But after a while, it becomes so laborious because, why? Because that's not the way we are built. That's not the way the brain works. That's not who we are as human beings. And that's why I really love what Susan B. Roberts has done.
And that's what one of our viewers was saying when he checked. I'm looking forward to talking about a diet because he was a fitness trainer. And he says, these diets, they just don't work.
Right. But how do you make a lifestyle change if it is contrary to what your basic biology is about? And I think that's part of again, why I really enjoy this, because I've spent a lot of time studying something called sociobiology, which is the genetics of behavior and who we are evolutionarily as human beings. And, my whole world of working with addiction is all about pleasure and things like that. Oh, for me, the most incredible thing about being human is that we, I believe, are on a cusp of an incredible evolution. I think we're on the cusp of a new way of being based on the prefrontal cortex, right? That front part of the brain responsible for thinking, for solving problems, for executing a plan, and for anticipating what's going to happen next. We are on the cusp of an evolutionary leap. But we still are beholden in so many ways to this very ancient part of our brain called the limbic system, which is responsible for emotions, for pleasure, for impulses, for memories.
And that is the author.
Is that Dr. Roberts?
This is Dr. Roberts, indeed.
Well, hello, Dr. Roberts. This is Dr. Joe Shrand here.
Do you have...
You are live on the air.
You want to just click the lower left. You want video. We got a lot of technology going on in here.
Can we get our Facebook Live over here too? Look at that.
On it.
Hello, Dr. Roberts. It's so nice to meet you in almost person.
This is virtual person.
And you are Joe, right?
That's right. I am Dr. Joe, and this is my co-host, Mark Stiles.
Hello. Hello, Doctor.
We've had about 100 emails today to try and fix up this link.
And you did.
So it's worked.
And you have done it.
Yeah.
And we have been just talking about the iDiet and the accolades, and I am so delighted that you are here. But I am also delighted that you have written this book, because this has had an influence on me. And influence starts with I, which is a good thing. So this is almost like the influence diet. And it fits right in with what I've also been working on, called the I Am approach, which I've been doing since 1982. The idea that we're always doing the best we can. Doesn't mean we have to like it or condone it. We're going to hold ourselves responsible for it. Doesn't even mean you're going to win, but we're always doing the best we can. Influenced by our home, our social domain, our biological domain of our brain and body, and the I see. How do I see myself? How do I think other people see me? And I know that this is going to change all of those things for me. So thank you.
We're trying. I mean, I think weight loss is complicated. If it was easy, you wouldn't need books, you wouldn't need programs. But the world fights all our good intentions. And, the longer you live in the real world and you participate in all the eating events and the unhealthy foods around you, the more bad habits you acquire. And then they're habits and they resist change. So, we're really pleased that the iDiet program is doing so well in kind of holding people's hand while they start to get rid of those bad habits and see a better path to health.
Yeah. And I love the idea of holding my hand, because it's really holding my hand down from grabbing the chocolate. So thank you. Thank you, Diana.
No, it's not. It's not. It's saying to you, fine, have your chocolate, but have it Sue's way.
Yes, that's great.
We've got chocolate recipes. I mean, I'm not big on deprivation, to be honest. I mean, I think that there's a way to have your cake and eat it here. That's the wrong way to address this clearly in this setting. But, you can have enjoyable food that's also healthy, delicious food that's also healthy, right, and it's satisfying. You can work on changing your food preferences so that you like more healthy foods over the long term. But our people frequently rave about our food, right from the get-go, and that's because we put a lot of attention to making sure it tastes good. I think too much healthy food that's billed as healthy just doesn't taste very good.
Right. So let's back up with this. How did you get interested in this? Because I understand you're at Tufts. You're a professor both of is it nutrition and psychiatry? Did I get that right?
Right.
So where did this come from?
It was a total accident. my family, all my family were obese. I mean, I was actually the fattest kid in my school, which was very hard at the time. It was embarrassing. It was shameful. But my family just loved food. And that's the experience of people who have weight challenges, that most of us just really like food. And so actually when I was in high school, I was working as a chef in the evenings. I got a job in a restaurant, so I was already working as a chef. And in England, which is where I grew up, you have to decide your major before you apply to college. And I didn't have a clue. And my dad took me to the local library, and we were just flipping through what different degrees we could do, because neither of my parents had been to college. So we were just looking, and I thought, this looks really interesting in nutrition. And so I just found it almost by accident. And then I got really interested. I did well. and that led to a PhD. But all along, I was interested in nutrition just because of food and because of weight. And so when I set up my own lab, it was the category management easier became my focus. And I did a lot of clinical nutrition before I started to think that the behavior change piece was so important that I needed to kind of become an expert in that too. And that led to my public approach. So it's really a great journey. And it's a journey.
Yeah, that's an incredible story. And so that's where the psychiatry comes in as well. I mean, we can't really understand motivations, I think, of why we want to eat. I mean, unless I think we dig deeper into who we are as human beings and that evolutionary thread. So that's part of the iDiet, right?
Absolutely. I think motivation for weight management. A conventional program tells you have to have a lot of motivation, that it's going to be difficult, you have to lose your willpower. I had this light bulb moment as I was thinking about, what I wanted to put in this book, which is that willpower is really pretty unhelpful. I mean, most of us find that our willpower is weak when it comes to resisting a plate of donuts or a large box of nice chocolate or a slice of pizza that's free on the counter or something like that. We're just not very good at that. And there's a really simple reason for that, which is that willpower doesn't work down in the unconscious brain, and that's where our hunger center is, that's where our addiction, our reward center is. So there's all these programs like Weight Watchers, like the Diabetes Prevention Program, which tell you have to be strong, you have to have willpower, you have to log your calories all the time or your points. And those things don't work. And so that was really the core of iDiet, is how to make it easier for people. How to make it easier biologically by getting rid of the hunger, by reducing the cravings, by changing your food preferences so that you like the foods that are good for your body. But easier practically, easier socially by giving people, kind of group support through the website, the iDiet.com website, so that you can kind of go through this with other people, and that makes it easier to kind of resist the outside influences because you've got people you're sharing the journey with. So, all across the board, that's always what I'm thinking about first, is how can I make this easier for my people?
Yeah, that's terrific. And I, in my field of addiction, what I say to people is it's not about willpower, it's about won't power. You have plenty of willpower. I will use this, I will use that. It's about won't. And the thing is that right now, we're talking about weight, and I love the idea that weight can also be WAIT, and we cannot wait for another moment until we go to our second commercial break. So we'll be right back after we do this weight moment.
You stay here, doctor.
Stay right there. Don't go away, because we're still going to be talking with you. All right? To the break.
This is not your... Well, because you're not looking at the camera. That's the wrong camera, Dr.
Oh, sorry, wrong camera.
Technology.
Put it up there.
Technology.
Terrible.
We are talking about this book right here, folks, live on Facebook, live on ATD, The iDiet.
Yep.
Susan B. Roberts,
yep.
PhD. We're talking about how it weaves in with the IM approach.
It is, because, again, what we're looking at in the IM is the effect of brain and body on many of our choices. And absolutely, I mean, the unconscious drives so much of what we do, but we can access it now, and we can actually retrain our brain, and that's part of what the iDiet is about, right? It's. I mean, I feel that way already. I mean, I already look at food differently tonight.
So tell me how. What do you mean you look at it? Because what I'm hearing is you can eat kind of what you want.
Yeah, and
you don't have to starve yourself,
right?
But yet you're going to lose some weight. How's that go?
Because I don't. First of all, I don't feel stressed out by it. So I don't. So I think when you have a stress response to anything, it actually activates cortisol, and cortisol is saying, "Whoa, you're under stress. The best thing you can do right now is not lose weight, conserve fats, because who knows what the stress is about. It may be because we're about to enter a drought. Remember, this is a million-year-old brain that we're talking with, right? We've got that million-year-old brain in us, right? And it's saying, don't do it. But the very first night that I was on the iDiet, with my whole family is involved in this, which is great. Again, that community that you're talking about, Dr. Roberts. I'm finished this lovely dinner, and my kid brings out chocolate-dipped strawberries. I said, what is this? He said, it's right there in the first 2-week recipe. So thank you again. It's incredible. But let's really get to it, because there are five pieces to this that you talk about in the book. Can you just cover for our audience sort of these 5 critical pieces about instinct and things like that?
Yeah, so we've designed, I'm first and foremost a scientist, okay? I'm a nutrition scientist, and I think about, what we've got strong evidence for. And when I decided that I wanted to write a better book, it was actually in response to the South Beach diet, because South Beach came out and it was very popular, and I bought a copy, and I found that it cited precisely one research study, and it was mine. And it was a study of like 15 adolescent boys, and we studied them for one day, and they built a whole diet around one study that was for a one-day study in 15 kids. And I thought, oh my God, I would never, design a weight loss study around that tiny piece of research. I would never design a weight loss diet around that tiny piece of research, because inside the body, the weight loss is complicated. It's not like there's just one thing that the body, tells the brain. The body's telling the brain 10 or 15 things about weight. And so what I did was I went to the literature, and I said, the research literature, and I said, what are the things all scientists agree on? Because if you can get things where there's real consensus, what it means is that one scientist does the protocol one way, another one does their study another way, but they all get the same results. And that means that those are very resilient principles on which to kind of design a program where people are going to end up doing them in their own way. And that's what I found, is that those 5 things, that if we're hungry, we want to eat. If there's food available, we eat more. If there's high-calorie things, we like it better. If there's variety, we eat more. If there's familiar food, we eat more. Those are 5 basic principles which were derived from the literature that all scientists agree, and they sound so simple. But we built a whole diet around those simple principles that works better. And we've got 5 research studies now. We've got 2 randomized trials that are just completing. One's actually just completed, and there's another one completing. It's a kind of a across America study that's completing at the end of 2018. And the results are showing that, we've got 2 to 3 times more weight loss than other programs. So, they're really simple principles, but they're working really well on average.
It's incredible. I cannot wait to see those studies. So, folks, really, I'm telling you, I've been on a bunch of different things, and I lose weight, I put it back on. I mean, I even created I hate to say it, Carol's probably going to be really annoyed, but when I was working at McLean, I had an opportunity to walk, because it's a beautiful grounds, right? And I was the head of the child department there, and I would take my patients and we'd walk around. So I lost some weight, but I was also doing this program where they had, prepared meals and things, and it was like, it was just, the only good thing about it was really there was a group, and so we had to go into group every week, and I found that I could eat shrimp and lobster and have, I hate to say it, a vodka martini, because I knew I was going to walk that all off. So I did go into a group one day, and they said, "How are you losing all this weight?" I said, "Well, I walk a lot, but I eat shellfish and drink martinis," and they did not like that. And it really wasn't even working. But put the weight right back on. I lost a whole bunch of weight, put it on. This one, it's changing the way I think.
So explain that, though. Like, why is it changing the way you think?
Well,
what are the steps? Like, what makes this different? I know South Beach. Now, some of our viewers on Facebook are asking about the doctor's thoughts on keto.
Yeah. What about on ketoacidosis and going into the Atkins diet? What do you think about that one? The like high protein, put yourself in ketosis.
I think that Atkins works in the short term for weight loss.
Right.
I mean, just a lot of people say that, and the research literature supports that. But it's for a reason that's not very nice, I think, which is that you're restricting so many kinds of foods that there's nothing good to eat. That's the first thing. After you've had bacon and eggs for breakfast one day, you've got to have it again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after. So it gets really boring. There's a lot of side effects. There's constipation, there's bad rest, there's discomfort, which a lot of people don't like. And then it's false weight loss, because when you go onto a low-carb diet, you're losing the glycogen carbohydrate stores from your liver. And each glycogen molecule is kind of linked to about 4 water molecules in the liver. And so when you go onto a low-carb diet, you're not just losing fat, you're losing a huge amount of water from your body too. So in the short term, it looks like you're losing more weight, but actually most of it, 80% of it is water. And that just comes right back on when you start backsliding. And, nobody can keep on one of those diets indefinitely. So it's really it appears to be falsely good. And that gets very disillusioning, because people do so well for about 2 weeks.
Right.
And then when the water stops coming off, they plateau. And as soon as they backslide, the weight just jumps right back on, and they blame themselves. They think it's their metabolism or something like that. And so, psychologically, it sets them back. And, if you look at the long-term studies, there's almost no difference in long-term weight loss according to how much fat versus carbohydrate that you consume. I mean, I'm personally in favor of a kind of a moderately low carbohydrate diet. I do think that helps a lot of people, because when you gain weight, your insulin secretion tends to get out of control. You become, in scientific sense, insulin resistant. Yeah. And that means your blood glucose is jumping up and down, and that does make the hunger worse. So I think you smooth out your blood glucose some by going onto a somewhat lower carb diet. But I don't see any evidence that these ketogenic and very low carb diets are anything other than kind of disillusioning and, somewhat unhelpful as a long term. They don't teach you how to live in a way that you can sustain.
Yeah. And the core, unless I'm missing in as you say, a paradigm shift in the iDiet is really more about fiber. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in fiber, just because it's a really easy fix. I mean, first of all, Americans are really short on fiber. I mean, I consider myself an American. I've lived here for more than 30 years. I just don't sound like one, unfortunately. But the average American consumes about 1/7 of the fiber that a Paleolithic man did. So our intestine is really short of fiber compared with how much fiber our gut was having when the genome was evolving. And fiber just has so many benefits. It slows down digestion. It makes, bowel movements regular. It makes you fuller. It just has a lot of benefits for weight regulation. Plus, it's a very easy thing to do. You can go to any supermarket and you can buy a box of high-fiber cereal, and you can have some for breakfast, you can have some for dessert, you can shake some into your soup at lunchtime if you want to. So it's a really kind of practically easy way to feel fuller without having to change everything you eat.
Well, there is so much food for thought here, no pun intended. But I think that the fiber of what we're talking about has to be sustained also by our sponsors. And so we're going to take the last commercial break. Dr. Roberts, don't go away, because we're going to be right back to the last chapter, maybe the dessert.
Well,
of
the dessert
Dr.
for sure.
Joe Show.
And we're going to learn why this is not your fab diet.
That's right. We're going to learn why it's not just your fab diet and your fad diet.
Fad diet.
All right, Ben, or whoever's in,
this
who's
is a
in there?
fad diet, not a fad diet.
Take it away to our commercial break.
Back For dessert.
For dessert.
On the iDiet. And we're going to learn why this is not your typical diet.
Right.
This is a fabulous diet.
It is.
That it has a mindset component to it, which, as we were talking to the doctor off air, most of the diets are just unsustainable.
Yeah.
Right? You come in, you do great, you crash and burn, and you're back to where you were. This is more of a lifestyle change, right, doctor?
It's definitely a lifestyle change, but it's also getting better results than the crash and burn diet anyway. If you look at our statistics compared to, these diets, liquid calorie diets, meal replacement diets, our weight loss is about twice that. On average, we're going 2 to 3 times more weight loss than those diets, as well as the conventional behavior program. So it's an easier diet, but it's also getting better results.
So how is it easier? So tell us, for someone who's going to grab this book tomorrow, which I hope most of our listeners will do, but tell us some of the strategies that the book has that are drastically different than the other diets.
We've had people who come into the program for all kinds of reasons, but some people come in wanting to lose 5 pounds, and they lose 5 pounds. I think our biggest loser is something like 130 pounds.
How much?
We've had people who are diabetic who have got off their meds.
Wow.
We've had many people who are on cholesterol meds, who are on blood pressure meds, who've come off their meds. We've had some families where we've had 3 generations. We started with the mom, then we brought in the grandmother, then we brought in the teenage daughter because they were all walking the walk at home and things like that. So, one of the amazing things I think about this diet as well is it works really great across all spectrums of the community. This is not just a diet for rich people. And I think we all know that, kind of trying to eat a paleo diet or an Atkins diet, for example, is really expensive. We've got people who have very modest circumstances doing well and finding a lot of inexpensive ways to manage their weight and eat with their family as well. And that's really important to me because I didn't want to be the diet of rich people.
Mm. And I think the other part, that makes it so welcoming is that it really does just feel natural. And that's the part that for me is great. It's tapping into who we are as human beings and saying, you know what, if you just let yourself be human instead of saying, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. I think it's been, I found it really easy to do. But the other part we were talking about off air was what happens for people who are overweight, especially in our society, where somehow being overweight, I think, has become almost a moral issue. That somehow you're a weak, bad person if you don't look good. You want to comment on that?
So I don't think anybody should think they're a bad person. I think that bad diets are very common. There's lots and lots and lots of bad diets that really, they kind of put guilt on people by encouraging them to fail. And some of the diets, I look at them, and I had to review diets for US News last year. I looked at some of them and I thought, are they deliberately creating sabotage to kind of keep their customers going or something like that? The food environment makes it very hard. The big food and small food, for that matter, push as many unhealthy foods and as wide a variety on people as they can possibly sell, to increase their profit. So, I don't think anybody's to blame for their state of being overweight. But at the same time, I think that we can all of us be smart about our weight if we if we get something that's doable. And, with the iDiet, that's what we were trying to do. We were trying to make this a doable thing so that people could lose weight and they could keep it off. Joe, I mentioned a while ago, the iDiet.com website, we've got some recipes to try. All the current groups are full, but there's some groups starting later in July for people who want to join a group. And there's a self, go at your own pace program that you can sign up for any time for support.
So what do you mean they're on the iDiet.com groups? So you sign up for a group. Tell us more about that for folks.
So the groups are fun, actually. What we've done is we've trained some counselors who run live groups on video conference. And that means that you get on once a week for an hour, you get on your computer and you join a group with Zoom. The same program I'm on right now, actually. And you get some short education sessions, you get to share your challenges, you get to brainstorm solutions. And then the counselor, there's a website where you can log your weight, and the counselor's on the site, and she can give you advice between the meetings. It's a very supportive environment. And then for people who are not group people, they just want to manage their weight privately, there's an on-demand version where you can sign up and you can do the education sessions at your own pace. There's a chat function where you can get help from a qualified counselor over an email chat and things like that. So we've tried to offer different ways to help different people. But the goal is always to lose as much weight as you need to lose and give you the skills so that you can be free running in the future.
And how do they find that information that was on your website as well? The coaching and the counseling and the do-it-yourself pacing course, is that on your website?
Yeah, that's on my website.
Which is what?
It's all on the website. I mean, I think the website program is actually much better than the book at this point, because the book was published back in 2010, something like that. And so since then, there's been a whole ocean of new foods, new food products. We've added, every time new research comes in that I think would be useful for my dieters, we tweak the program a bit. So the program is a kind of an organic thing. I've set up the website so that if a really important study came along tomorrow, and I thought my dieters really need to know about that, I could change the program materials today, and that would be seen by people very shortly. And the counselors know about that, so they can discuss it, because there's a lot of research coming out in weight loss, and a program that's fossilized with just the research of 10 years ago is not going to be giving people the most up-to-date health.
Well, that's great, because you're right. I mean, books are fantastic, but the research continues, and so we have to be able to update it, and having a website like that. So it's iDiet.com. You can also buy the iDiet book, which has all these incredible recipes in it. And I mean, I'm just going to read also: curry chicken salad on field greens, apple, walnut, and blue cheese salad. And these are later on, but in stage 1, because it's in different stages. I mean, listen to this. I mean, you can have, and this is stage 1, on day 1, you can have baked salmon with lemon dill sauce, and there's a recipe for it, with that 1.5 cups of green beans, with a 1/2 teaspoon of tub margarine, and then chocolate tipped strawberries and cream. Wow. I mean, what is this? This is just the coolest thing ever. And the other thing is there's this one where there's this Fiber One cereal, which we love, and you can melt little bits of chocolate over it.
Yeah.
And I guess you're seeing where my sort of enthusiasm goes. It's definitely to dessert.
Fiber.
It's fiber. It's to fiber.
Okay.
It's to fiber.
I'm so happy you're talking about the food. I mean, so often in the groups we end up talking about food because, we're people who love food.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of work into the recipes to get them to be really delicious. And people share, somebody comes in and says, oh my God, I made the lasagna this weekend. It was the best thing I've ever eaten. And the others here, we've had some people, they never cook. And they're using the no-cook recipes. I mean, we had many kind of no-cook meals in there, just for people who don't cook. And then they're listening to other people talking about cooking, and they come back and say, well, I've been listening to the cooking, and I tried something, and it was really easy. So we spend a lot of time talking about food in this group.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable, and being able to legitimately enjoy food while you're losing weight it's a pretty cool thing.
It is mind-blowing.
Well,
again, compared to all these other things. I mean, you know, to go in and get these processed things instead of you're making your own wonderful food.
Well,
So-
you've got a lot of fans on our Facebook page talking about the book, too.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of supporters out there. Some folks are talking about the chocolate-dipped cereal and how
yes, that's right.
amazing that is.
It is. That's what I was talking about. It's incredible.
Looks like I'm going to get
what's
this
great
book
is for
tomorrow.
a snack, you know, you just have some Fiber One, the cereal, which is delicious.
Did you know you could get the online group counseling and coaching, though, when you bought that book?
No, we got to do this.
Yeah.
Look, we are unfortunately out of time, but Dr. Roberts, what I would like to do is this. I know we're out of time, but can we invite you back in like 6 months
When
and
he's
then
all
and then I
skinny?
can stand up and say, look what's happened. So,
Well, you already look great.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But please, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate it. We've got a great golf show coming up with all sorts of politics and things that they talk about. It's fantastic.
Polygolf?
But thank you so much, Dr. Roberts, for being part of the Dr. Joe Show tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts.
So thank you for inviting me. Pleasure to be on the show.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.
Vincent Van Gogh cut off his ear. Did
You're done.
Bow, bow, bow.
he do it from fear?
She in the
Who knows? Van Gogh. Dear Romeo, dragged from the vial. Did he do it for love, or was he just being wild? Who knows? Van Gogh. Stretch the kindness, brush with madness. Is it sadness or just a show?